Our next guest has some thoughts on it. Before you bring him in, let me give a little intro here. We're going to bring in Karue Sell, teammates with Mackie McDonald, Marcos Carrion at UCLA, coached in college. He was part of Team Osaka, traveling the world with her when she was winning Grand Slams, but then documenting his pro career. Post 30, YouTuber, influencer, Karue Sell joins us from Los Angeles. Karue, it's nice to meet you. Got myself Jeff, Sloan Stevens. Tracy, you good? You can see him?
I want to see what his hat says. Karue, what's his hat say?
Yeah. What do you got? PV,
Palos
baby.
Verdes Tennis Club.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding? That's
We
7
love
minutes
that.
away from my house, Karue. Are you there? What are you doing
love
with that
it.
hat?
I know, they just gave me a hat, so I'm rapping. I'm a South Bay guy, you know, and I'm rapping my Palos Verdes Tennis Club hat.
Go
I love
PV.
it.
Give
I
us some
love
laundry
it.
TV, you
thought.
got to represent, you know?
You got a laundry thought, I think.
I mean, I was hearing you there, the whole like debate with the laundry. It's kind of funny how it is on the road, really. Like, the worst thing is like giving laundry to tournaments. You never know what's gonna come back. Like I have like a bunch of like Fila gear for whatever reason. I don't wear Fila.
Did it fit?
It just comes back on my laundry.
Yeah,
But you know, it is what it is.
But Karue, also at these Futures and Challengers, I mean, the laundry, it'll be like $5 for a pound of laundry. And you're like, wait a second, how much are you guys charging, right? I mean, the cost is insane. It just doesn't add up.
Insane costs. Like you just need like a nice, like, you know, one of those like Best Westerns that has like free laundry in the second, in one of the floors. There's like some free laundry, because yeah, it's pretty expensive. And then, you know, come on, the Challenger guys here, we can't afford that $5, $10, $15. That's a dinner.
Karue, thanks so much for joining us, man. We're looking at this match. Currently, right now, you're 285 in the world. You know, kind of walk us through this journey. You know, after college, I think you played a little bit, and then you became a hitting partner for Naomi Osaka. I guess I'll start with that. How was that being a hitting partner on the road, and you helped her win a U.S. Open title? That must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. She moved to LA. We kind of connected, you know, randomly, really. They just kind of gave me a tryout. We started playing, and it sort of all worked out. It was a bit of an unfortunate year, right? 2020,
Yeah.
that there wasn't a lot of tennis to be played. So we ended up not traveling that much, but we practiced a lot out here in LA, and obviously we won 2020 US Open, then 2021 Australia. So we had a pretty successful stint there, and it was awesome, you know, to work with her, get a lot of experience, you know, started being around that level, and really, I'm probably not going to win a Grand Slam. I'm pretty sure. So just to see someone. Yeah, let's hope so. But just to see, you know, sort of the pressure and everything that, you know, one has to deal with. Sloan obviously knows that. So to win it, it was really cool to be a part of.
And talk about being a hitting partner, right? Is there something where, you know, being a hitting partner, you need to make sure it's in the strike zone for the player? I mean, you also got to do the fitness. You got to make sure that you're in tip-top shape being a hitting partner. It's not just like walk out on the court and hit a few balls. You got to make sure you're doing everything right for them to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's I came in, I was coaching a good amount before. I was like just the hitting partner with her. So I had a little bit of like the eye for it. So I think me and Wim at the time, you know, had I think he trusted me as well. And so I think one thing about being a hitting partner, yes, you want to make them feel good, but then every once in a while you got to be able to like push them and get them out of like that comfort zone and get out of like, you know, just the tendency of being in their little bubble, just trying to feel good. So you got to be able to kind of go through the gears and be like, oh, she's feeling way too good
here.
That's
a fine line, right? It's a fine line.
Yeah, maybe up the tempo a little bit, maybe change it up a little bit. And when you can kind of sense that maybe they're not feeling as good, then bring it back down. So it's kind of like a fun, like little game that you want to be aware of. But yeah, you gotta be fit. You gotta, you know, sometimes you're doing fitness. Naomi does some pretty hardcore fitness. At least like when I was working with her, I was like, oh man, this is not what I signed up for, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a good experience.
Karue, the hitting partner is so important because they need to be able to hit the high and the heavy. They need to be able to hit the slices and actually know what you just talked about, that balance of, you don't want to beat your player too easily because then you destroy their confidence. But so you were a hitting partner, and then you resumed playing at the challenger level again in 2023. What was the thought process there, and how are you doing now?
Yeah, so after Naomi, I was just kind of coaching a little bit. It was never really a plan to go back into the pro tour, to be honest. I think it was just kind of the right time. I was like, I'm gonna go try to get a point just for the channel. I was like, maybe this could be fun content at the time. I ended up getting a point, and then on my second tournament, I won it. It was a 15K, and I was just like, oh my God. And it was the end of 2023. Should I do this? There was a few guys that had done the same thing. Jules Marie, a French guy who kind of went back on tour later when he got a following on YouTube. There's a few people doing it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this. And winning that tournament so quickly kind of got me into maybe I should do this. And slowly but surely I started training again in that off season 2023 to 2024, and we just I was like, let's do it. Let's go all out. This maybe my last run. And I had a pretty successful 2024, I think. Beat my career high, all that. This year's been a little slower, a couple injuries, things like that, but it's kind of all part of the process. But it's been really rewarding, really fun to do. I can see the Rio Open, which was crazy. So, I've had some great opportunities so far, and I hope to, get to. I even played Brandon, last year at the end of the year. So
yeah, Karue, you didn't need to bring that up.
Yeah. I know. Well, I'm gonna say
anymore,
I think
Karue.
that lit a fire on him. He's playing unbelievable this year. So props to him. He's really making some runs there close to breaking top 100. So that level is hard. That challenger level right there to get through the top 100 is really hard. And I'm gonna do my best to play at my best there, but it's been cool to just be around the game again and play again.
Okay, I like you again, Karue.
That's awesome. Well, it's cool. We're hanging out with a Brazilian. We're watching two Argentines play, and that Brandon Karue match was a little UCLA USC matchup as well. Behind you, Karue, I think you have something that kind of celebrates you getting 100,000 subscribers maybe for your YouTube channel, and it's great that you're breaking into it because in most cases for all sports fanhoods, everyone's into the top players, all the glory, the ones that make all the money, but your story documents a different side of pro tennis, just like one level below it. And we always talk about how amazing it is to be the 200th best at anything and how the money is like surprisingly low in tennis versus the other sports. Like, what have you, with showcasing this angle and making the content, what have you learned from the fans that maybe you didn't think through the YouTube channel? I'm sure you're getting a lot of great feedback.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think in general, there's just never been maybe that much of coverage on this level, right? I do believe I was 5 years kind of away of playing pros. I believe that the level has gone significantly higher, sort of like the medium level. Maybe I'm not saying the top level, but everyone 200, 250, 350. Even when I travel a little bit with Marcos, with Giron as his coach, a couple times he played, some guys like 200, 180, and we were like, you better be locked in here because, they'll come in to beat you. And so, that the level has gotten so high. You see, Jensen wins a 250, then loses 2 first rounds of challengers.
Exactly.
And you're just, it's so, the parity is so high. And I think, obviously I'm trying to document what I do, but in general, I hope to be able to highlight to people, it's like, look, if you have a local challenger, go watch it. You're gonna watch some great tennis, and so that's been sort of like kind of my angle now. And again, showing a little bit of the financial struggles, all that kind of stuff that I think people have heard of, but haven't seen maybe just one person showing it. There's different players kind of showing different levels. There's some guys doing futures. There's a few guys doing challengers. I see some people now doing some of the ATP behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it seems like it's something more and more players are thinking about, but in general, after again, being 5 years off the tour, it was really interesting to see how, the professionalism is just incredibly high across the board.
So that's changed in the 5 years since you were away, Karue? Is it changed now? Lower ranked players as well are more professional?
I think so. I think, even from like 2019 when I was playing, you could tell there was like a little bit more like slacking off. And now like I'm seeing just guys, they're traveling with teams, even at, 200 if they can afford it, if maybe there's support from federations. Sponsors. There's all kinds of things, right? Sponsors, there's all kinds of things. But in general, you come in, it's like there's no holes. There's no one that's just like has a bad backhand or a terrible forehand. It's just you have to be locked in. If you're not locked in, you're going to lose. If you're not playing your best, you're going to lose. And it's a hard level to get through it, but it's in its own way. It's like I find it to be like a very like raw level. It's like it's sort of like the final push to make it that top 100 goal that everyone has. But I do believe that the sport sort of outgrew the top 100. I think the level, to me, the top 200, 250 are basically, the same level as probably everyone like in 60, 70, 80, 90. So yeah, it's good to be there, but it's also pretty hard.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with my 6 questions because everyone asks my questions. So I want to know who edits your YouTube channel? Like, who actually does your videos for you?
Me.
You do everything? So
Well, I now have an editor.
Okay.
The last year, I hired an editor, but I still edit, I want to say sort of like, I'll edit more like the story, like the cut all the dead time, all that kind of stuff. And then she kind of comes in and spices it up a little bit it makes it look a little bit nicer. But for the first 4 years, it was me. I write, shoot, edit. I do kind of everything solo.
So is your YouTube like I have so much admiration for YouTubers because I just like, I don't even watch cable anymore. I just watch YouTube. So is your YouTube like your second job? Like, are you actually making money off of YouTube?
Well, I'd say it's my first job now.
Oh, I love that. Okay, tell me more.
In terms of like monetization, and paying my bills, my money nowadays comes from the channel.
Wow.
And so, you sort of have these like little goals that you want to reach as you grow, right? 100,000 subscribers is usually like a big deal. But what happens is you're able to get some more like brand deals. If you watch YouTube, you've seen like, oh, this video is sponsored by this video is sponsored by that. And so what that allows me is to continue to make the content for free, right? I don't have to put anything behind like a paid wall or anything, but I get paid, just to make a video or to put an integration in a video. And so I've been able to now have more of that, and that at the end of the day kind of pays the bill. There's multiple revenue streams. Like you have a little bit of AdSense from YouTube, you have affiliate commission, things like that. There's a lot of stuff, but the main thing is now kind of these ad integrations. And so if I can get like 4 of those a month, that allows me to pay my bills.
Then you're rich. You're
because
rolling.
Mostly, yeah. Well, wouldn't say
yeah.
that, but at least I don't have to like coach, you know what I mean, or do something really more on court.
Like you can
just
actually focus on this.
Yeah, I can practice and I can make content, and I don't really have to be maybe on court more, which is at the end of the day, like that can be a lot, because that's what happened last time I played. I was kind of playing, kind of having to coach. You're sort of like a foot in, a foot out, and you're never fully committed.
Yeah.
And this allowed me to be more committed to the whole thing,
Okay, and then
that was amazing.
I'm like, this is so cute. I literally am like stalking you. I like stalk all the guests, but I was like stalking your YouTube channel, and I was wondering, like, obviously in tennis we always have goals. Like you have a ton of goals, like getting back on the tour, breaking the top 300. Like, what are your YouTube goals? Like, what is success for you on YouTube? Because like you kind of need both, right? Like you have to continue playing in order for the people to be like watching your video. So like, what in YouTube is success for you? Like, what are those goals?
I think I don't necessarily have like a number of subscribers goal or anything, but I do hope that maybe once I'm done playing professionally, and I'm able to hopefully get more and more like players on the channel and be able to experience, like, let's say, I get to do preseason with a player, right? I get to do preseason with the new Medvedev or whatever. Just do different experiences, because I think I'm in a unique place where I'm able to make the content but play with like the top level players, right? And there's a curiosity from like the audience to see them in a more like humane way, right? Not just like, so tennis players in general are very guarded, like no one wants to, it's a pain just to get someone to do an hour of media, in a tournament. So if I can continue to grow the channel to a place where I can bring in, someone like, Serendulo and understand his journey, his game, his play. I think that's kind of my goal. Obviously, I'd like to grow in terms of subscribers as much as possible. But to me, it's just like continue to be able to use the platform to do something interesting for tennis and also interesting for me, because I do think like I'll be able to maintain a good level. Hopefully, I can be able to play with them even when I'm kind of retired and not able to play a full season, but play some good tennis still. And that's something I really want to do in the future. But for now, I just kind of have to focus on my own sort of path.
Karue, got a couple questions for you. You're watching Serendulo Komas here, Serendulo up a break. You know these guys really well. Kind of what do you see in their games and what makes them so good? Because a lot of people haven't seen Komas play.
Komas, I mean, just these Argentinians, man. I don't know what's in the water down there. They are just tough nails.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the South Americans get a little bit of a bad reputation for, just being clay quarters or whatever, but you watch them play. I mean, they're incredibly tough to beat. I mean, they're so fast. I really like Serendulo's game. Mm-hmm. I love his ball striking. I love the way he seems so chill, but like he's hits a big ball in kind of an easy way. Komas, obviously, like the speed, the forehand. Like, I mean, they just have a formula down there for whatever reason in Argentina, and these guys are so good. But again, I actually Serendulo is someone that me and Marcos talked a lot about because we love his game. We just kind of like the way he controls the tempo, controls the action without seeming like he's like forcing anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just like look at how many.
A lot of Argentines, but I tell you, you got
I
a special.
Karue earlier this year.
You got a special Brazilian as well coming up, Fonseca. So he's been on an incredible tear. And what do you think his upside is, Karue? And how big is he down there?
Is there a relationship there too? I don't know if you've got to speak with him.
He is next level big down in Brazil. Like Brazil, when, especially in an individual sport, someone sort of breaks through like that. We had in surfing, we had a lot of that in the last like 10 years. But not in tennis really ever since Guga, someone with like, I think this level of like talent and hype. And he is, I mean, another level of superstar down in Brazil. I mean, you just look at his numbers, right? He has 1 million followers already.
Wow.
Like, there's not that many tennis players with 1 million followers. I know it's like a weird sort of thing to gauge someone's like,
But that's what we get. That's what we use now. That's what we use. It's a good meter.
But that's what we use now, exactly. And he's a guy who, he's probably still has, definitely has still a lot to prove. But like I love his game. I think he's going to be a Grand Slam champion, to be honest.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see sort of him catch up with some of the guys at the top. And I think it will be pretty fast, if I'm being totally honest. So hopefully I get to get him on the channel at some point too. I really want to play a little tennis with him.
I mean, he's a big tennis player, but he doesn't have string named after him. You've got the Karue Sell string with Toro line. I mean, how did that come about? You have string named after you.
I know. They just reached out. They're like, look, we got a lot of, at the time I think they were a little smaller, and they were like, let's try. Ooh. Yeah. Let's try to, come up with a string, like it's like a blend of 2 strings, right? So it's a hybrid string. And then we started, testing some stuff out and playing with the colors. And then we've got this like kind of crazy pink and yellow color that shifts color. It was very random. And we ended up calling the K-pop.
Nice.
So,
and it's in Europe as well now.
It's in Europe, it's in Europe, it's kind of everywhere now. Yeah. And, it's a really good string. They've been supporting me, for a long time. I've struggled actually, interestingly enough, to kind of have like the support of tennis brands more than kind of the more like YouTube branding deals. Right. But now, like, I've been now working with Technifiber and Tourline. You can see there it shifts the kind of the color. It's kind of cool. Yeah. But yeah, great string and pretty affordable. So
where do you train? You say you're in the South Bay. Where do you train? Is that South Bay Tennis Center right there?
That is actually in Laguna Beach.
Oh, okay.
So that's like sometimes I go down there for just doing some fitness with one of my fitness coaches. But I go to Carson a lot. I'm actually a lot in Carson with the guys there. You know, when Brandon, Zach, Marcos, everyone's there. They've been really nice to kind of let me hit there when I can. Sometimes just different, South Bay Tennis Center, Redondo Beach High School, like just different places out here. And but yeah, just trying to stay around the South Bay so I can avoid LA traffic.
You know, Karue, if you're hitting at Redondo Beach High School, I mean, we know it's a big high school, but I don't know many pros practicing there. Who are you hitting with?
Well, sometimes with Marcos actually, because he lives like 5 minutes away.
It's like Ray Sarmiento.
And yeah, like I hit with, you know, I have a couple like hitting partners sometimes just for, you know, if I want to work on my own stuff. And then if not, you know, I'll just go, you know, to see whoever's in Carson. Sometimes I go to UCLA. Yeah, I've been like it's like a little bit of, sometimes a bit of a struggle to find someone to practice with, especially if I'm in town. Just, you know, if haven't been in town in a while and now you come back and there's no one in town.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to like get by. Honestly, to me, if I can just keep up like my fitness schedule, like it's more important to me at this stage of my career. Just like the demands on the body on tour can be so difficult, and so like if I don't get to play that much tennis, I feel okay. But if I don't get to do like kind of my fitness part, that's where things start falling apart.
Love it. Busy guy. Serendulo now serving for the first set, kicking it with Karue. I think some of the videos that people most like, and we can weave here in between the tennis as Serundulo's 3 points away, is like, Tracy, you were getting pumped too when you saw the video. It highlights the prize money, and you're
Making more at McDonald's.
That's what's cool. You're being very open about, like, you know, how much you make at what ranking level, and you were a hitting partner with Naomi. Like, I don't want to be like nosy, how much did you make there? But like, what would be more profitable? Being a hitting partner with Naomi all year round, I'm assuming a lot of stuff's getting paid for on the road, or being 150 in the world all year long, kind of staying in that 150 range? What do you think?
That is a good question.
Or where's the breaking
I actually
point
do
there?
think it would depend on how much Naomi was winning, right?
Well, I was choosing a major champ on purpose, yeah.
I would say nowadays, I know there's a big, like, there's a talk about the money and all that. I do think that nowadays, if you're playing kind of top 200 tennis, so meaning you're playing all the slams, at least the qualies, and you're only playing challengers, with them being able to, you know, they pay the hotel rooms at least until like 5 nights or until you lose, if you're playing main draw. So I do think actually, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's more profitable, because you'd still having to pay so much out of pocket to be, you know, 150, right? And the higher you go, you know, the more expenses it seems like people have. But you can kind of stay afloat. I actually think you can, you know, obviously if you qualify to a slam, then you're going to have, you know, a good year, I think, compared to, you know, just being a hitting partner. It's just that it boils down to the expenses, right? If I'm doing something with Naomi, she's going to pay for the flight. She's going to pay for hotel, all that stuff. Plus I have my weekly thing. Where on the road, you know, you have the expenses if you're traveling with a coach, if you're traveling with, you know, someone that's going to add up. There's only one hotel room, so if you're paying for someone else's hotel room,
but it sounded like
then
you
it can
talked
get
about
trickier.
a commission from Naomi. A hitting partner gets.
Like he said, his weekly thing. That's what
No,
he
you
said,
get your weekly fee, and if you
Well,
get a bonus,
I get
if
like a
she's
week-
winning a slam, obviously.
Yeah, so you
she's
get
doing
a.
well.
That's why I didn't know. I did not know that we didn't have hitting partners, so I didn't know a hitting partner would get that bonus as well as the coach.
it wasn't like, I mean, she gave it to me at the time.
Oh,
it wasn't
okay.
like it was written in a contract.
I
It was
see,
just out
okay.
of her kindness.
I just think this is good stuff. You're in the
It's great.
you're in
That's
the
why everyone at home
thick
is
of
for
it,
sure.
and
Yeah,
we're
I'm in
all
the thick
kind
of
of
it.
curious about all these nuances.
Break chance save, by the way.
Yeah, I think most hitting partners is just you just have a weekly, you know, sort of deal. You know, I think more coaches have more of like a set sort of, you know, bonus structure kind of thing. For most hitting partners, it's more of like a weekly thing. But at the time, again, we've won a couple Grand Slams, so she was kind of.
Can I be really
she was pretty
obnoxious?
awesome.
What would somebody like an Andy Murray get? I mean, is that too personal? I mean, what do you
Like
think he would get?
coaching-wise?
Yeah, Andy Murray to coach Djokovic a week. I mean, that's
I have no idea.
Okay.
That is
Come on,
that's a
Karue.
great question,
Throw a
Tracy.
random
Not gonna throw out a number.
But
That is, I don't
gotta
know.
be a big
I mean,
number.
Yeah,
I
no,
hear
I
some.
mean-
I don't know.
It has to be insane. But I
Yeah.
think for like normal coaches now, which is so interesting, is like I just started hearing that players are paying like weekly fees and like 20% of prize money, which to me is like unheard of. Yeah, I heard someone paying 20% of prize money. That's unheard of.
mean, that's
don't
a lot.
understand.
20%
Yeah.
is a lot. That's
20% is a
20 is a
lot.
lot.
Plus a weekly fee of like 2,500 or 3,500. Like that's pricey. I mean, but if
Yeah.
you're number one in the world,
No,
you're
that's
top
pricey.
10. Like
Yeah.
okay, maybe, but that's crazy for like 10 to 20% being like the normal. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yes.
that's a. You have to be making a lot of money to cover that.
10% is kind of the normal.
especially,
5 to 10%.
Yeah,
kind of
like
normal.
especially if
20%.
you're
5 to 10% of prize money.
prize money.
And then the
Yeah.
big coaches, you don't have to tell me, but let's just throw out a Darren Cahill and a Brad Gilbert or those kind of coaches. What would they get a week?
Sometimes that's like like a week or monthly thing. Like a
Yeah.
I think it's closer to like even closer to 8 to 10,000 a week. I would
Yeah.
say closer to 8 to 10,000 if you're coaching a player that's in the top 10, something
sure.
like that.
So Serendulo, yeah, go ahead, Karue.
No, I mean, that to me that's such a number. It's just when it comes to that, it's like, look, there's so many coaches out there. It's like, Sloan would probably be the one that can talk about this, but like, who do you hire at that money that you're like, this is going to be worth it? Because it's
like
kind
they're
of a
gonna
gamble,
turn
right?
it around
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they going to turn it around for you, or is it going to be just,
So it's
I'm paying this,
5K
and
is
I'm
more
paying
normal?
for past
Is
performance?
5K doesn't kind of
Pretty
make your
pricey.
eyes. Oh,
You better
that's
believe.
That's
Oh, really?
that's still
that's a lot,
pricey.
too.
It's still pricey.
Yeah.
But I
That's
think
still
20,
pricey.
Yeah,
20
like-
to 40 in the world maybe could do that, but not everyone can do 5K.
Not
right?
everyone
you
can do
need-
5K.
It's got to be like
It's-
20 to 50 in the world, I would say. 5K is, yeah.
Throwing a
That's
Chipotle
pushing it.
card.
I don't think someone 60 in the world
Yeah,
can
they're
afford
not doing
5K a
that.
week.
No.
Yeah.
Like $2,000 a week, I would say 2,500,
Yeah.
and then it's just like based on results. Like so,
Results.
if you win a
Yeah.
tournament, you're getting a $10,000 bonus
Yeah.
or whatever it is. But
Got it.
it's just pretty much based on results.
Good stuff.
Yeah. and you get those
Karue,
dinners.
what's something that fans maybe don't know about the lower tours? Whether I know you're playing mostly challengers, but also futures. I remember back in the day, don't know if it's changed or not, but I thought it was completely backwards because the futures we were paying for our hotel rooms, right? And then all of a sudden you make it on the ATP tour, and then you have the 5 nights, or you have until you lose, from Saturday until you lose. So all of a sudden you're making money but not paying for the hotel room. But futures, when you're not making any money, you're paying for the hotel room, paying for lunch and dinner at the courts. Is that still the same, or what's changed in the lower levels that fans might not know?
In the future, it's still the same. In the futures, I haven't seen anything, plus age. There used to be like the more plus age,
Yeah.
right? Like 15
Yeah.
plus age,
Yeah,
or like 10 plus age, or
meaning
25
plus
plus
hospitality.
age.
Yeah.
Plus hospitality, yeah. I haven't seen that. The prize money has increased there. So now they're 20Ks and 30Ks instead of 15s and 25s.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so they're a little bit higher, but you're still going to be paying out of pocket for everything, right?
And I
On
know
on
in
a
futures, I was trying to
week.
get as much housing as I could because I was like, wait a second, I don't want to be paying for the hotel if I can stay in a house.
Yeah, ever since COVID, the housing thing kind of
okay.
it's not really that much of a thing anymore.
Okay.
Like it used to be, you travel basically everywhere, and
Yeah.
you have
In the
housing,
States,
especially in the
States,
U.S., right?
Yeah.
In the States. And that kind of has gone away a little bit. I know there's a few that still do it, but a futures week is very expensive,
Yeah.
especially in the
Rough.
U.S. Like because any hotel is like $160, $170 a night, and so.
And how much would you make
you
if you
lose-
lost in the quarters or the first round?
First round, you're probably less than $300.
First round, $300
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
280, 350, something like that.
So you're not covering
Wild.
a
Yeah, so
hotel.
Wild.
you
You're
got to
covering
get
one
through the
night.
futures fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to get through the futures fast because nowadays, I mean, again, everything is a little bit better, but it's still the futures is really tricky because I remember I played a future in Dallas, 25K in Dallas. That week costs like I don't know, $2,500.
Jeez.
And how much did you make?
It's probably I made like semifinals, probably like 1,400.
Yeah, I remember Karue you played that men's open in Northern California, the Stead Open, that 25K. It's like similar thing, but like that would be worth it for you because that would be like 3,500 if you won that, whatever. I think you won it a couple times.
Yeah, I was just yesterday. I was in Ojai. They're having the
Yes.
the now it's the Big Ten
Yeah.
and the CIFs, and the men's open. That men's open, I've won it twice. I've made more money in that men's open than I've ever made in a professional event.
How much you make in the men's open?
Like I think I won it. It was, I think, 5,500 for the winner. The couple times I've won it.
Yeah.
Well, Karue, I have a mixed doubles tournament. I'm not joking.
Are you wanting to play mix with him? Or
No,
are you
I'm going to
wanting him
watch
play?
him. I'll get him a partner. But we have prize money. I mean, it's incredible numbers.
Yeah, and you look at, like, you know, nowadays you have, you know, the UTR with the PTTs, right? And those are paying, like, you know, 3,600 for the winner, but you have like guaranteed prize money, guaranteed like 4 or 5 matches because they're like group stages kind of. And those were the ones that got me back into playing because I started playing them here in Newport Beach, and I'd go play, you know, 6 matches, you know, in a week, and you play one of those, you're like, even if you don't win it, like you got so many reps in.
Yeah.
That's actually a great way to kind of play 1 or 2 of those and get some reps and then go into playing pros or playing like a future after maybe you've had like a couple tournaments that you didn't do so well. So there's actually, I would be interesting to see if someone just went full pro on like men's opens and PTTs, if they would just like make more money than actually playing a year of pro tennis versus a year of just like men's opens.
Yeah, that's crazy. We've now popped into Rybakina and Svitolina, 3-2 head-to-head for Rybakina. Rybakina is now outside the top 10 for the first time since January 2023. What about college coaching? Because you played at UCLA. I think you were a volunteer assistant a little bit for Billy and the Bruins. That Billy voice. Had to get that Billy voice. That's pretty good. Right? Yeah, come on, Billy, get it there. We actually had Billy on the show a couple years ago. Shout out to UCLA.
That's
and
so
now the
good.
Big Ten. Would you ever consider that, going back to any college coaching? That's a salary job.
I did a little bit of, I actually did a volunteer year at Pepperdine as well. College coaching, I think I love college tennis. I don't know if college coaching is for me personally. I just, there's a lot more than just coaching to be a college coach. You're dealing with a lot of stuff. NIL now, you basically have to be like a CEO.
And a psychologist for 10 different people.
Oh yeah, Trace. Like you know that. So like to me, it's not the path I wanna take, to be honest. But I have friends that have gone into it and they love it, and I'm happy to see like it continues to be a thing, and that the programs, I mean, there's a lot of programs being cut, but hopefully continues to be a thing. It's just now with the NIL stuff, I really don't understand it because I don't understand the numbers. I don't understand how like these guys are getting paid. Look, my business is NIL, is name, image, and likeness, and trying to, you know, promote myself and work with brands and get paid for that. And so when I hear some of the numbers of players like getting paid, a stupid amount of money to just like play transferred. And I'm like, how is that possible, right? How are you using NIL in there? So I don't really understand that, and I think it kind of took away maybe a little bit from like, you know, that team camaraderie and spirit.
The loyalty.
Guys are like transferring. Yeah, like there's guys that like won a national title and transferred to a rival school the next year. I'm like, that's crazy, right? So I just don't really get it as much anymore, even though I still like love watching. I think it's like the best product.
I think it's hurt college tennis a lot because you, like you said, Karue, you're a Bruin.
Lost the Pac-12.
You're a Bear. My sons were Trojans, and they were Trojans. You're a Tar Heel.
And I could never think of being anything other than a Tar Heel.
You're a Trojan or whatever you are for life. Now there's just zero. It's whoever's the highest bidder out there. I think it's kind of ruined college tennis.
When I see
football,
players,
it's obviously where it all started. And Karue, how about UCLA and USC having to play so many matches on the East Coast? That's really rough.
Crazy, yeah.
Sorry, Phil.
They're playing.
That was my forehand.
They're playing the Big Ten, like, you know, at Ohio State, right? And right now, I think.
Right now they are, yeah.
It's just so not the. You know, the Pac-12 was so great.
Yes.
I mean, it's such like, we have these rivalries, you know, Stanford, USC, UCLA, Cal, like Arizona now is really good. And things have changed, and we had a great conference. I understand the football, basketball aspect of it, but maybe that should have been like just those programs that do that, and we continue to exist.
Karue,
unfortunate.
What's next for you in the tennis world? What's the next tournaments coming up for you?
So yeah, I'm still kind of recovering from like my calf tear. I signed up for something. It's a 50K, a challenger in Colombia, in Bogota, in May 12th. And then the following week, I'm actually going to be at the French Open during the qualies week. It's looking like just for some content stuff.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get some cool stuff there. And then June back to like, I think there's Little Rock, Tyler.
Yeah.
There's like that. This summer starts picking up here in America, and I'm just gonna try to play as much as I can and make up some time because unfortunately I had a bit of a shoulder thing that I had to take a few weeks off, and then I went back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play just 3 tournaments. I'm excited. First match, I tore my calf, and now we're kind of here. So it's been a little bit of bad luck in the last like few months, but hopefully I can just get back to competing a lot and because you lose the rhythm, and once you lose the rhythm of playing and being on the road, it can get a little tricky.
Yo, you are doing it, man.
My wife likes it, but
That is so cool. Well,
my wife's okay that I'm home.
I did not know he's married.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
Was today years
married,
old.
I'm
I
married.
had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing it.
See, his
And you got to
family
subscribe.
says it's
You got
great.
4 new subscribers already today, right?
I already
Sloan?
clicked the little bell thing, so
Oh, there you
Let's
go.
go.
Sloan
I'm
Steve
with
is
it.
on it.
Yeah.
Sloan, whenever you want to come on the channel, just let
Oh,
me know.
have me on your channel. I'm free. I have time now. So call me.
Let's hit.
I'm here.
Yeah, let's.
You guys should hit some
play
balls as
tennis.
well. Play
Yeah,
some
we
tennis,
hit
put
some
it on
balls.
And the total
And I
line.
want to try your string. Yeah, because I'm looking for a new string. So maybe, I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna send a text immediately as I'm.
We already did.
when
Eric
I'm off
Lee.
the-
Eric Lee was on
Sorry,
the show.
Chin's on it.
Lee.
Sorry, Chin's on it.
That
He was on
woman.
finder's Chin's wants the commission.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Chin's wants the finder's fee.
I'm kidding. Karue,
What if Sloan wanted you as a hitting partner, Karue?
He's traveling
He's
though.
playing.
He's
He's
playing.
Oh, he's playing. Sorry.
Right now, I just can't. Right now, I'm committed to this.
You're
this
too
is
busy.
it.
Too many
look,
jobs. Love
okay.
it.
it's like, look, I actually did a little coaching this week, and I was looking at my wife. I'm like, it's pretty nice, you just you do a few hours of coaching, like you got the channel going on, like financially it would make the most sense to do that, but I'm just like committed to the end of the year to this.
Yeah.
We'll reevaluate. Sort of, I'm just kind of doing it year by year.
Yeah.
And we'll reevaluate at the end of the year if I do maybe one more season, see where we're at. But I'm just gonna go full out here. I can
Let's
always
go.
do the other stuff later.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
Plenty
I'm
of
gonna
time
be,
for coaching.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And maybe
Yeah, I can be a hitting partner for the rest of my life.
Anytime.
or an academy in
But-
South Bay. We need one, Karue.
Hey, Tracy, just say the word. I got plenty of people who would like an academy, but it's hard to find the right place, the
I got
club
a
who
couple
wants to
courts
do it,
that
and all that kind of
I can
stuff.
think of. We'll work on it, Karue.
We'll work on it.
All right, you squeeze out all that talent and keep making content. Appreciate you coming on and giving us all the insight. It's really good stuff. Hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thanks for having me.
Nice for having
First time on
you.
TV.
Thank you.